Welcome to At the Table with Chef Jay, the podcast where we believe that every meal has a story and every story has a seat at the table. I'm your host, Chef Jay, and today we embark on a culinary journey through the heartwarming realm of a cherished memory and delectable dishes. Today's guest is Eastover-based baker and retired educator, Ericka Hursey. She'll be preparing one of her favorite, and mine too. No, my husband's. Oh, love it. Cinnamon rolls. Could you share with us the story behind this dish?
Well, growing up in the big city of Eastover, South Carolina, if you all know where that is, my mother was always a baker. And I would sit and watch her. Oftentimes, I find myself helping her clean up more so than baking. But I still learned a lot of what she did. And as things changed, I would try to say, Mama, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. She always wanted to do it the way that she grew to do it. And so as I became an adult, I decided to try and do some things a little bit different. So I just built all of what I learned. I used everything that she learned, but I just added some things to it to meet it the way that I would like for things to be done.
That sounds good. Well, you know, cinnamon rolls is one of those things that, first of all, smells good when it's in the house cooking.
Delicious, yes.
And the other thing that the dough is so warm and delicate and just so confident. And so I want you to tell us a little bit about the dish, show us how to make it, and I'm just so excited. Okay.
Well, actually, from my mother, I started out baking cakes because that's what she always did. Red velvet cakes, pound cakes, chocolate cake. And so I've done those. I have a few ribbons from the state fair where I entered my cakes into the state fair. And then I like to challenge myself. So I decided to do something a little more difficult. And cinnamon rolls is not something you learn overnight. It takes time. I've been doing cinnamon rolls now for probably 10 years. And I took the time to try different things, try different flours, and kind of tweaked it to meet what I wanted it to be for that texture that I really wanted and the flavor, because you don't want something that's overly sweet. Well, I don't want anything that's overly sweet. And so people have asked me to do diabetic desserts, and I haven't ventured out to that yet, but some of them will settle for my cinnamon rolls because I make sure that they're not overly sweet.
Right, that's right.
And with the flour, I'm not paid by King Arthur.
Right.
But King Arthur to me is the best flour that I can find here in Columbia. I'm sure there are other more expensive flours, but this is one that you can find at your local grocery stores. And if any of you bake, you can tell, I can put King Arthur against some of the other ones, and I can see the difference in the color as well as the texture. Right. So I start out with the King Arthur flour.
Okay, well, I'll tell you one thing, you can be an influencer for King Arthur.
I need to. Look, I need to try, yes. Because
they're always looking for that. You know, they're looking for people that endorse it, and you know, so everything can be turned into something else, I would say. Especially
so
if you're big on it.
I put my flour in the bowl first.
Okay.
I'll just set this back here. I have some of the recipes you'll find have eggs, some do not have eggs. I've tried it both ways, and I've settled on doing 2 full eggs with 1 yolk. So that's where I settled. Okay. Add that. I have a little oil, which I just add the oil here.
It's like a canola oil, a vegetable oil?
I use vegetable oil or canola oil, whichever I have in the house, honestly. Just not peanut oil and not olive oil.
Right, okay.
Canola and vegetable oil. And you know, I'll tell you all this too. One thing about eggs, you can find eggs that have expired. So make sure when you get an egg, if you see that the yolk burst, that's a stale egg.
Good information.
So I've thrown away cartons of eggs because I buy them from a certain place and they're all stale. So just make sure your eggs are fresh. Even when you get fresh hen eggs, if they sit out too long, you'll find that they're stale.
Thank you
so
for
I make
that.
sure that I get good eggs.
That's great education.
And then the milk, it's 1 cup. This is just 1 cup of milk, but the milk has to be warm. And what I've decided to do is there's yeast that you can buy in the grocery store. Everyone knows Fleshman's yeast in the yellow pack. It didn't rise as well for me, so I watched a few videos and I found there's another yeast that I purchased off of Amazon. It's more of a commercial yeast. And so with this one, you don't have to proof first. You can just put it directly in the flour and add the milk. Some of them you have to proof, where I would normally put the yeast in the milk and let it foam. With the commercial yeast, you don't have to do that. You can just put it directly into the flour. And then a little bit of salt. And so that goes in.
Well, I will tell you this, but you've already educated us on a lot of things, you know? And you know, baking is a science. So if you mess up one thing, the whole pan is messed up.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
You can, you know, there's certain things you can play with a little bit.
Yes.
And sugar, my mind went blank. I've already put in a half a cup of sugar in here. So I did it just to kind of cut down on what I was bringing in.
Okay.
And so then I'll turn my mixer on and try to add it as slowly because I don't have one of those splash guards. And I'm just going to mix the milk in. I should have had
I can pour. You got it. Oh, you got it. Okay. You're expert at this. I know you. We know how to fix mistakes fast. Okay.
Yeah. And as it's mixing, I wish you all could see it. The dough will begin to form, and after you've done it for a certain amount of time, I've done it so much that I can kind of tell when I need to stop it. Some of the recipes will have you mix the dough for 15 minutes. I've learned that makes the bread, it makes it tougher. So I don't mix it as long as the recipe states. I just mix it until I see it form into a soft dough.
That goes back to that. I know the gluten is one thing, but I'm talking about when you pull it apart. It's supposed to be a certain way that it pulls apart, right?
And I also add a half a stick of butter to my dough. I took a class. I went one weekend to Charlotte just to take a class at Johnson & Wales because I feel like I can always learn. And the way that they mix it is they kind of add the butter, let it mix for a little bit, and then you add the butter to the dough so that you can get it all mixed in.
Yeah, education is power, isn't it?
It is. You can always learn from somebody, regardless of what you do. I feel like I can always learn. I'm always learning.
Yeah, I'm a lifetime learner. I always tell people that.
And so I just let it mix. My mixer's about 20 years old, but I've had it in the shop in the hospital a couple of times because I wanted to get it serviced, and I just don't want to get rid of it. It was a gift given to me by my mother-in-law. I did go out and purchase another bigger one so that when I'm doing other things, I can make double batches. But with cinnamon rolls, I haven't been able to make a double batch the way that I would like for it to be done because you have to have so much space. And when you're doing a double batch, you have to make sure you weigh the dough and make sure each cinnamon roll is about the same size. So I find it easier for me to just use my handy dandy original mixer and do my cinnamon rolls with this mixer. But you can see how it's the difference in how it's something flew out a little bit. All right. And so I can now take my finger and I can feel it, okay? It's not quite as soft as I would like for it to be, but I don't want to over mix it. So what I'll do is I'll transfer it from this onto my counter. And I'm just going to knead it for a few minutes.
This is so, people don't really get to see what it takes to go into homemade things, you know? I got you.
Yeah, and so when doing cinnamon rolls, sometimes people will say, well, can I have one? And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. I can't just do one, you know?
That's right.
When I make it, I usually make at least a batch of, when I say a batch of 5, but it ends up being about 10 half dozens. So that's how I usually do it.
We're so honored to have you.
Oh, look at the little thing.
This is amazing, guys. I'm telling you. Thank you, audience, for coming. Y'all been amazing, too.
And this is, I'm kind of rushing along to do it a little bit quicker for you all, but I also have to remind people when they ask for, when you're pricing things, I'll always fuss at my mother. She would want to sell cakes for $10 and, $15. And I'm like, Mama, your ingredients really cost about that, and then your time. And so on a normal day, if I'm doing cinnamon rolls like I'm doing now, this is really about a 5-hour process.
Think about
because I have, what did I do? Oh, I took it out of here. Where's the one? This one. So normally you do this, and then I have to knead it a little bit. But prior to me coming this morning, I got up and made a dough. And so you can see the difference. See how this looks versus this. This has already risen a little bit. And when I touch it, you can see how it just comes back a little bit. This is not ready yet. So I would roll this out a couple times, knead it, cover it in saran wrap, and put it in a warm space for it to rise for a couple of hours. Or if you have an oven that has a proof on it, you can proof it in your oven for a little while, which is still going to take at least an hour to an hour and a half. And so what I'm going to do is get this to be, I can kind of eyeball the size. If you look at the recipes, it'll tell you, what size you want it to be. But for every batch of dough, I should get approximately 12 cinnamon rolls. And so that's why I can sell them a half dozen at a time. I've done the individuals before, but it takes more time. And I prefer just selling a half dozen because now I know I only got to run behind one person.
Yeah.
to get them versus so many people buying single cinnamon rolls. And so I try to get this to be a square.
No, I didn't want to let that pen go. It felt so good in my hand.
Which one?
That
The rolling pin?
I was like, oh, I can take this one.
I have my grandmother's rolling pin. I have my grandmother's rolling pin, believe it or not. But it's one of the older ones that has, the red paint. You always see those?
Yeah.
And it started coming out in my dough, and so I can't use it anymore.
That's right.
But I still wanted to hold on to it.
Well, Ericka, I want to share some with you.
Sure.
So I have a vintage, I'm really into vintage stuff, right? So I have a vintage hand mixer that I make I use when I'm baking, right? And it's over 50 years old. So I have these expensive things.
And you don't
I
use
used the old 50.
Let me get my stick of butter.
Yeah, the old 50-year-old hand mixers. That vintage stuff is good, I'm telling you guys.
Here we go with butter. Land O'Lakes. I love Land O'Lakes. It's my favorite, least expensive. Mm-hmm. Some of the other butters that cost a lot more, you can taste the difference. Mm-hmm. But I really go with Land O'Lakes for something like this. If I was doing something personal for my family, then I may use one of the other brands of butter. But Land O'Lakes is my go-to. Okay. And so then all I'm going to do now is, and everything needs to be at room temperature. I think I forgot to say that. Because of my drive coming in from Eastover, I took everything out this morning, so I was certain that it was at room temperature. It does make a difference if your eggs and butter is not at room temperature when you're mixing everything together. This butter, I'll simply just going to spray. And I've tried this both ways. If you look online, you'll see some people mix the butter with the cinnamon and brown sugar. This is my way of doing it. I just spread the butter out separately on the dough.
And so you stick with traditional. What about I've seen people made it with apples and all kind of different kind of things. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I've tried some different things with my family, but not to sell.
Okay.
And I've done it with pumpkin, like around the holidays. You can put a pumpkin spread here with some nutmeg and cinnamon to make pumpkin spice cinnamon rolls. I've done a little bit of caramel drizzle on top.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those people who kind of keep things nice and simple.
Yes.
I don't know. That's just how I am. My family would say otherwise, but to me, I think I'm keeping it nice and simple because you get caught up in all the flavors and the toppings, and the dough is not any good.
Right.
So I want to make sure I'm providing a good product, and I just don't put all the toppings on.
But that's what our parents did, our ancestors did. They didn't do all that stuff. They kept it really nice and simple. It always tastes good. And another thing I noticed too is they basically use garlic, salt, black pepper. We have all these seasonings. I mean, tons and tons of seasoning. They kept it real simple, but it was always delicious. I think that's when the love came.
So now
in.
I'm going to sprinkle it with the brown sugar and cinnamon. And you can measure. I know it's supposed to be 1.5 cups, but I've done it so much. I just make sure I put enough so that people can taste the cinnamon.
That look good, and I'm telling you, brother.
Can you get the pecans out the oven?
Yes.
And I can tell when it's not enough. So, and I mix the brown sugar and a little bit of white sugar. White sugar is a little bit sweeter than brown sugar, and so I do more brown sugar than regular white granulated sugar because of the flavor. And so then I just sprinkle this all over.
That looks so good, and I got my back turned. That's what I'm talking about, Aunt.
And I don't use, for cinnamon, I don't just use like regular the cinnamon. I use, if you go to Sam's or Costco's, they have the Saigon cinnamon. Sagion.
Yeah.
And that's the cinnamon that I use.
You ever had Mexican cinnamon? I was in culinary school. We did Mexican.
That may be something I need to try.
Use Mexican.
All right.
That's so pretty. Look
So
at that.
this is that.
That's
And then
perfection.
for those that like nuts, I'll sprinkle nuts. No nuts. She said she doesn't like nuts. And normally I do toast my nuts a little bit, and I have a chopper at home where I chop them to make them a little bit smaller. But I didn't chop these, but it's
Look, do
okay.
some have nuts, but some with some that don't.
Well,
like.
when someone doesn't like nuts, what I try to do is to
Okay.
keep it. I don't mix it because sometimes people have severe allergies.
Right.
So I would make all my originals without nuts first,
And then put them on top of
and
something.
then make the nuts separate in a
Okay.
separate, in a separate batch.
Okay.
I try not to mix.
And the allergies?
But those over there don't have any nuts.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, the
So
tasty
I'm
ones
gonna
don't
just show
have
you
nuts.
real
How about that?
quick how I.
Okay.
So I would sprinkle these over there.
Mr. Nate lips. He loves cinnamon rolls, y'all. That man loves some cinnamon rolls, I'm telling you.
And now I'm going to, you can, sometimes I can cut them with the pizza cutter and roll them separately.
Yeah.
It just depends on what I'm trying to do. Like the other day, someone asked me to make some miniature ones.
Yeah.
So they wanted them small.
Right.
So what I did in that instance was I cut this in half, I made strips, and then I rolled them separately.
Yeah.
So for purposes of demonstration here, what I would normally do is just roll this. I'm going to tuck it and roll. And you try to roll it kind of tight.
Yeah. I like everything mini too. You probably know. I like to cut everything little mini, tiny things.
Yeah. It just takes more time to
Yeah, it
do it that
does.
way.
Yeah.
And when I'm selling a half dozen, I'm selling the regular size.
So I'm glad I know you make some cinnamon rolls small.
Yeah.
So I can buy more for Mr. Nate so he can just have little ones.
And believe it or not, people have gotten them from me and put them in the freezer, and you never know
Yeah.
when they come out of the freezer. Just bring them, just let them sit on the counter.
Yeah.
Bring them to room temperature, and maybe stick them in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and you'll never know that it was in the freezer.
And your tasting ones, I'm going to put them in the oven for you guys to have them warm too, okay?
So she has. Blue scraper.
A blue
Blue
scrape?
floss in the bottom.
Okay.
All right. And so with this looks like it may be a tad bit longer than I would normally roll it out.
I love being sous chefs to my guests. What you need? Yeah. Okay.
And so then what I've done is, so I'll take this and I'll just sometimes cut the end off. And that's what I give my husband.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's the best part.
No, because he wants something every time I bake, and I tell him, no, you can't have it every time. So because I've kind of mastered how I do it, I use my 2 fingers, and I can sit here and I'll do like this, and I can count how many I should have.
That's it. Sound like Mr. Nate, boy. He'd be trying to eat all the food up. Too cute.
That's 12.
You got it down. Look at that. Science.
Dinner floss. I keep this dinner floss in my kitchen.
God. What you, yes.
And what I do with the dinner floss is simply cut these 2 pans. Yeah. I just take the dinner floss and go through here and pull it like that.
God.
And then you just put them in the,
Ha ha. Golly. She got it.
so
I
you know,
tell
that
her.
other pan. And because I want to keep my clients happy, I try to make sure everybody's is the same weight, the same.
Yeah.
We really don't get into a whole lot of some are bigger than others because I'm not a perfectionist. And so it's just not, everyone is not going to come out looking the same. But what I do is when I'm doing it like this, I go back and forth on the log because sometimes the roll, one side is a little bit bigger than the other. And that way I make sure that I'm doing even amounts. And I'll put
Fabulous.
6 in a pan.
That's perfection. Oh my God.
And you can do it with I have a blue scraper. You can cut down, but I found when you cut straight down with a knife or a scraper, it just flattens them a little bit. And so this way they're not as flat.
Goodness.
So keep in mind that the dough has been rising since about 9 o'clock this morning when I got up. These I will sit in a warm spot and let them rise for probably another hour and a half before I put them in the oven. And so then they'll go in the oven for about 30 minutes. If I have a convection, I'll bake them for about 30 minutes on convection.
Good.
And then keep from wasting. Sometimes I'll take this and just sprinkle it on top.
Oh my gosh.
Just sprinkle it on top.
Oh my God.
And we don't want to waste these little butts, so I'm going to go ahead and stick them in here. I usually
For
put
her
them
husband.
in the middle. I try to put them in the middle, but there you go.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I do is, this is something that kind of helps add a little bit of moisture to them, a little bit more moisture.
You need a brush.
Is I put a little bit of heavy cream. I just pour a little bit of heavy cream. This just gonna pour.
Okay, though.
Just a little bit of heavy cream over them.
I know. We have
But they won't be
individual.
ready. I mean, if you want to take them home and bake them, yeah, you can do that. Because I don't think we'll get them to rise before we leave.
And I have individual for those that want to purchase them.
But I can, yeah. So then I put the lid on. Those lids, yep. And just put them in a warm spot and let them rise, and that's
Oh
it.
my
And show them. So once they come out of the oven, once they've risen, then this is what they look like, and this is.
Oh my goodness.
And for my frosting, I do just butter and cream cheese and a tablespoon of vanilla, powdered sugar. And so that's my frosting, and then I put that on top of it.
So Ericka, this has been amazing and humbling.
This is the fastest I've ever
Yeah,
made
you
ceremonies.
Y'all, I had to convince Ericka, come on, okay? I'm telling you. So tell us what you do so amazing and how we can find you, follow you, and support you because the holidays is coming up. And Ericka does baking for a business, guys. So let's make sure we support her. And she's a really amazing and humbling person.
Yes.
And also tell us, she's a part of the school district. She's done a lot of amazing things, ex-principal, and she's...
So
tell us what you want to share about it.
I really, to be honest, you all, I really bake by word of mouth. So all of my clients are people that I've either worked with or family. And so they just text me and say, Ericka, what are you going to be doing? And, we're ready to place our order for Thanksgiving. So prior to me coming here, I stopped by Costco's to load up on some of my dry goods to get ready for my Thanksgiving sales.
Yes.
And it was so stressful for me one year. This is really therapy for me.
Yes.
And so I never wanted to be where I'm aggravated by doing it because
right.
If you don't feel good about it, it's not going to come out
That's
good.
right.
And so I have to always make sure I'm in the right mindset when I'm baking. And I turn my music on and I just listen to music. I'm in my kitchen by myself. But if it becomes overwhelming, then I'm not going to enjoy doing it. And so what I had to decide, because one year, I think it was two Thanksgivings ago, I wore myself out. I had like 40 whole cakes. And I did it by myself. And when I was done, I just sat at the counter and I cried because I was just so exhausted from doing it. But at the same time, I could feel the spirit of my mother there with me.
Amen.
And oftentimes I know, it's strange when I get ready to do something and I'm talking to myself like, should I do this or should I do that? When I change my mind and go with my gut instinct, everything is perfect. An example, something as simple as last week when I was baking, I said, I'm going to do 5 batches of cinnamon rolls instead of 4. And the spirit said, no, Ericka, just do 3.
Yes.
And I did 3 because that was all I really needed. I was going to stretch myself to do more. But when I did that 3, guess what? That's all the salt I had was just for enough for 3 batches. So I have to, because, it's just following my instinct and following my gut. So what I've decided to do to keep from stressing myself is I'm going to just bake a certain number. And this is what I did last year. I bake a certain number of red velvet cakes. I bake a certain number of German chocolate. I'll do a certain number of lemon or whatever.
Right.
And then I text my list and say, y'all, this is what I have.
That's right.
And this is all I'm going to sell. Because it keeps me from being overwhelmed.
Yes.
And, you come and get it. If you don't, somebody else is going to get it.
That's right.
And so that's what I'll be doing for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I'll start working on getting everything organized. And I used to send out an order form and let people order. And I found myself counting over and over and making sure I had this right and that right. And I said, I can't do it that way anymore. So, but I enjoy doing it.
Are you making cinnamon rolls for Thanksgiving?
So what I'm going to do, what I'll probably do with the cinnamon rolls, I'm going to test it again myself. Like someone just asked to buy these. I'm going to bake some myself. I'm going to make some, and I want to freeze it here at this step. So then if I can sell it to you before it's baked, then it will be up to you to get it baked.
I like that idea.
That way you can have that nice aroma in your kitchen on
right.
Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
One of my cousins did it. I let them test it, but I think it was human error because they didn't come out the way I thought they should have. So I want to try it again myself. I think they didn't do something right.
Okay.
So I'm going to try it myself before I start selling them that way.
Awesome. So how can we find you and follow you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm not a big social media. I need to hire my student, Miss Carter. Where's Miss Carter? She was my student. I was her principal in high school.
Awesome.
But I'm not really big on social media. I do a little bit. I have on Instagram, it's Hursey's Delectables. My last name is Hursey Delectables. And you'll see a few things that I post. And I don't really do anything on Facebook. Like she said, I'm on Richland 1 School Board. And so I just use Facebook to post business for district stuff. So I don't really interact with anybody on Facebook.
Okay, well, we want to thank you for serving our students, first of all. And thank you for being amazing. And we just thank you for coming and sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
You took me out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
You heard she said, I hear that a lot. I take people out of their comfort zone. Well, guess what? You won't believe this right here. I'm serious about to say this. I am always out of my comfort zone when I get in front of people.
Okay.
You know, but I believe in what we do is that we share stories on our ancestors. I was so passionate about this, and I went to Kevin. I said, Kevin, I want to do a podcast. I am no public speaker by no means. And I had to come out of my comfort zone to be able to bring the community together and get us cooking and back in the kitchen and sharing these amazing stories. It's been amazing.
Well, I really am grateful that you did this, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. Thank you.
I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome back. We're sitting with Ericka. Before we try your dish, what does food and family mean to you?
Food and family to me just means love. It's sharing, it's putting your heart on a plate is what it really means to me. It's my way of expressing my love to people. I may not always be the emotional type to hug and kiss and buy gifts, but I share with my family through my food and my giving.
Well, I couldn't help because I be hugging you all the time, Ericka.
That's okay. That's okay.
Because I just see how much love you put into that cinnamon roll, and just your whole personality is so loving to me. I just can't help. Every time somebody's supposed to want to hug you.
Thank you.
And that's why I show my love, just being kind to people and just hugging them, letting them know that they are so important. And my love is sincere.
Well,
that I don't see.
Yes.
I just love people just in G, but I just want to say I just watch you roll those cinnamon rolls out and spread that butter, and I could just see the love that you have in your dishes. And I know that a lot of times our ancestors did the same identical thing. They showed their love through the dishes that they did. A lot of times they didn't tell you that they loved you, but they showed that.
Right.
You know, and it took me a while as I got older to realize that. You know, that they really loved us through the food that they shared, and that's the whole idea of us keeping those dishes alive, those stories alive. You know. But I want to try these amazing cinnamon rolls, and tell us how we can find you and what's some of the things that you do bake.
So in addition to cinnamon rolls, like I said earlier, my specialty has really been red velvet cake. My red velvet cake won first place at the state fair. I don't recall which year. My German chocolate has also won first place at the state fair. That was 2 years ago, last year. And then my caramel cake, I came in third place with my caramel cake at the King Arthur live tasting test kitchen with the state fair. So cakes has really been my specialty, and I just ventured out a few years ago to start doing cinnamon rolls because I wanted that challenge. You know, I really don't have a favorite, and in all honesty, everything that I do kind of sells equally for the most part because people have their preferences. Some families prefer the German chocolate, but a lot of people prefer the red velvet. And so it's kind of a balance for me. And so that's why when I bake for Thanksgiving, I'm going to kind of bake an equal number of everything because that's usually how it sells.
What do you enjoy eating mostly?
I I really don't eat a lot of it, but I do love the cinnamon rolls. I would say the cinnamon rolls for me is something that I enjoy eating, and having it with a cup of coffee.
Oh my goodness, that's so interesting that she said a cup of coffee. I just want to give a shout out that I'm enjoying my cinnamon rolls with one of my good friends, Patricia. Her coffee mug is Black Girl Me.
It's beautiful.
So please follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Black Girl Me. So I'm enjoying this amazing, beautiful cinnamon roll with my Black Girl Me mug.
It's a beautiful mug.
This one. I like the texture.
Good. Can you taste the butter and the...
I do taste the butter, and I like the balance of the cinnamon and the sugar. They kind of just right.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, I don't know if you ever seen people do this, they dip some of the icing,
sure,
and then you have a little sip of coffee.
Yeah. I try to make sure that it's not overly sweet, but it's a good
Right.
balance of flavors. Yep.
Yeah, and that wraps up another episode of At the Table with Chef Jay. Before we say goodbye, don't forget, show some love, hit the like button, share the joy with your friends and family, and of course, subscribe. And thank you for the delicious cinnamon roll, the mug, and the coffee.